in the company. So, today we're going to kind of talk about, you know, the full lineup, and then, but the one thing I want to start out with is the split adjustable base, which has been wildly popular throughout the industry. How many, by show of hands, how many have had this in their store on the floor and have sold something fantastic? And the uniqueness about it, obviously, is that it's got a split adjustable head up, which in a queen configuration, well, up until now, was basically unheard of. In order for somebody to have independent control, you had to go to a twin XL. Twin XL put them into a king, and it also raised the price on them, and most likely couldn't make it, you know, very affordable. So we developed a queen size version of it, and then we also developed a king size version of it too, so they could still have independent control and get something that's cost effective for them to go on. But I want to talk about some of the features of the remote, and then also some selling tactics, which I want to kind of share with you guys. That I don't know how your volume and lift beds is in the stores, but there's a couple of pointers that I'd like to share with you guys, and hopefully they'll help you, you know, continue to move these things. Yes, sir.
I've got a question. Who's Noctova? Tell us about
Who is Noctova?
Yeah, who you are, how you came.
The company's been around since 2013 is when it was developed, and it was kind of spawned off of a retailer, a local retailer in St. Louis that ended up getting into the mattress import business for his retail stores. And the lineup was very popular within the retail stores. And then with his association with another dealer in the rent-own industry, he started developing and bringing it in, and then it was selling it out to the rent-own industry. And Barry Seidel and Val Seidel are the main principal owners of the company. Barry's a very good bed developer. Everything he develops is developed with a purpose, not just because we're going to build a 12-inch bed that's going to have memory foam. And what I'll show you later is that every bed in the lineup has a story, and every bed is unique from the different bed. So if you were to lay all 4 of our mattresses out on the floor, not one of those mattresses would look the same, nor would they feel the same. And so they can basically, you know, attract and fit pretty much any customer that walks into your door, and we'll cover that here in a little bit as far as the build and why, and you know why we've done that. So, and with, you know, over the past couple of years since I became involved, we really kind of had a broader reach within the rent-owned industry. So it's companies like you guys and some other dealers that have really kind of been a champion and a good cheerleader for us to help us expand our business even further. So we're always looking to develop something new and different, and you know, something that we feel is going to be, you know, a home run within the industry, which is where this thing came from, and so far it has been. But getting on to this, and I don't know how many of you have really kind of played with the remote. It does have a flashlight. It's a top selling feature. Flashlight. But the memory position to me is the most important part of the sales presentation, not just because it has independent head-up control. Is that you have one person that might want an elevation at a certain, and the other person might want an elevation that's slightly different. With that memory button, you can set that preset. And so every time that they would, at the evening, and they would go to bed, they could just press the memory button and it will elevate to their preset. So they're not having to mess with the head up and head down button every time they go to bed. And then in the morning, everybody gets up, you just hit the one button flat, and it takes everything down to its normal position. And that seems to be wildly popular. Now, one thing you might not know about the remote, if you haven't looked through the manual, is there's this little button right here, and this is the factory reset on the remote. So as these things go out, and God forbid that they would be returned and come back, and that customer has used the memory button, you're going to want to reset the remote to the factory setting. And that way, the new customer that gets it will be able to adjust the memory to where they want it for themselves. Because if not, it's going to automatically go back to the previous customer's preset. So that's a real important function to know.
Just by taking the batteries out won't do that?
What's that?
Just by taking the batteries out wouldn't do it?
No, they won't. The other important thing, which I do have a copy of it in the remote, is, let's say a customer's dog chews the remote, or, no? What, pairing the remote?
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that flag. Do you really know if when you take the batteries out, it doesn't reset, or did you just make that up?
Yeah, I've done it.
Sorry, Marty. It just sounded like a Marty Smith movie. You just glopped on it.
You don't take the batteries out. That's exactly what that is. If you in the owner's manual, it shows the factory reset for the.
You know, everybody's going to go back to their stores. They're going to take the batteries.
You gotta go
out.
try.
Because I still don't buy it.
Okay. All right.
Big bet with him right now.
Oh, bad Marty bet is a good Marty bet. Follow plan.
Ooh.
But in any event, let's move on to pairing the remote. So in the event that a customer needs a replacement remote, if their dog is chewed, or if you got it back at the store, the remote didn't come back, which I know never happens in this industry. Guys always bring everything back. We do have replacement remotes in stock, but it's very important that when you do get the replacement remote in, that you pair it to the control box of the motor. And it's real easy. I put a copy of it in that packet there. It's real easy to just press and hold both the head up buttons and keep them depressed until motion comes, and then now you pair that remote with that. It's real simple to that. I've actually fielded probably 5 or 6 phone calls from actual customers that have called me that are, you know, having trouble getting their remote to work. Well, it turns out they got a new remote, but the store manager didn't tell the customer that they needed to pair it. So if the owner's manual doesn't go with the bed on the initial.
How much are the remotes as a replacement?
$29.99. We have them in stock. We have the retaining bars in stock. We have the motors in stock. We have the control boxes in stock. We have the legs in stock. So we basically have everything in stock if something would get damaged or lost from that. Now, motors have a 3-year warranty, so we'll talk about that too. There are specific motors. This is what's called a head-up motor. This is called a foot-up motor. I know it sounds strange because they're both at the head, but the control box needs to be able to differentiate between which motor it's trying to control. So if you do have a warranty issue on a motor, there's a label on the motor itself that says head-up or foot-up. We just need to know which one, and we'll ship you a replacement out at no cost, and then you'll be good to go. That was one thing we wanted to do, to make sure we had parts for these adjustable bases, and so you have
the motors and stuff.
Yes, yeah, we have everything.
Have they been going up, or have they been?
We've had one. Yeah, we've had one replacement. The other motor we replaced was damaged on delivery. The manager or the delivery technician did not seat the motor in the bracket very well, and when they went to raise it up, it just snapped the motor in half. So that wasn't a fault of the motor; that was a fault of the install. So, and so the 3-year warranty is a pretty good warranty on a motor. Anyway, so but if anything happens, just let us know. The deck itself and the framing, has a 1-year warranty on it. So if any welds break, which is doubtful, let us know that. The mattress itself has a 10-year warranty, and the warranty is non-prorated. And what that means is that if the mattress would ever fail, and what would fail in a memory foam mattress is the foam would break down and you get that dip in the middle, we will warranty the bed at absolutely no cost. We'll ship a new one out to the customer. There's one caveat to that, is this cover has to be pristine. There can't be any stains, there can't be any soiling, there can be nothing on the cover. The manufacturer will cover that, and that's pretty standard on most bedding lines. Which is the importance of the encasement, which is now coming with every shipment. And what's a really important component of this bed is that the encasement, which most of you should know, is split at the head, so it fits on like a glove, and then you zipper it around the bottom. Well, what also comes in this is a split fitted sheet. The reason we put that in there and packaged it in there is so the customer would not have to go purchase anything additional to finish out making their bed. They can use their existing flat sheets and their pillowcases to finish it out.
Is that to say, this is just like, are these like a quality cotton, That's my thing with it. I'm a sheet snob. I want high count, quality sheets. So, like, how long is that gonna work? Is it gonna fill? Has anyone complained
don't have enough history in it to right now, because we've been shipping these basically since.
Is that
probably
something they could
January.
Google also on Amazon if they wanted to buy
Yes.
something different? Or
Yes.
out there in the world?
Yeah, Google does, or Amazon does have, full packages, so they've got the encasement, they've got they got the split fitted sheet, they have flat sheets, they have everything else, and they're
They want to-
anywhere from $90 to $130 is what we found. So if your customer does want a higher quality, fitted sheet, or if they want something of a different color, they can. We'll get them started at no additional cost.
Do you see bringing in different colors down the road for sheets? We've had that question already.
Yeah, probably not. It would just amount to so many different SKUs, when you get into different colors, if it was, and I don't know of a pretty standard different color that would work universally, with everyone, so, yeah, probably not.
Do you know the
Are
thread
there
count?
other manufacturers that are building this SKU?
This bed?
Yeah.
There are now, yeah.
Okay. So that's why there's availability of the sheets?
Yes, there are now. The company that first, we kind of launched about the same time as Sleep Number. And Sleep Number and us, we really kind of came to market at the same time. We're substantially less expensive than a Sleep Number product. They're anywhere from $5,000 to $6,000.
Different product.
Per bed.
Get back to the sheets.
Back to the sheets.
So say, because you get the one sheet with it, can you order an extra sheet, like if
Yes.
someone wants two? Another
Yes.
set? Do we just call it RES 39?
Yeah, you can get the replacement sheets only from RES. And if you have a bed that comes back and you need a replacement encasement for that bed, you will have to order that from RES.
Okay.
We,
So,
yeah.
People might want two,
yeah, we're only shipping them with the initial order. And the reason we decided to do that is so the product and the encasement would show up at the same time. You guys weren't having to try to chase down one of these to get it delivered to the customer, so.
So on the adjustables, what's the warranty weight for the adjustable? Is there a max weight capacity for
As far as a body weight?
Yeah, I mean, just for that, it's gonna be a question that's asked. I mean, like with lift chairs, right, we order information that says we're gonna weight warranty weight for the restrictions or.
Well, and the motors themselves will lift up to 1,000 pounds.
Each one?
Yes, each motor.
Oh.
So, and you're only talking half of, they'd have, some big person would have to sit all the way up to create a problem, right? And which, I don't know, we'd probably move through about 1,500 to 2,000 of these things somewhere in there. With one motor failure, we feel that's pretty good. And we know that there are some situations with some customers that, maybe weight would be an issue for it, if they do like a platform basis, those can hold, 300 pounds aside,
But you also consider you're only moving half of that body.
Exactly, you're only moving half. This cover is removable, it is machine washable, so if you choose to if something comes back to the store, and if it's got some kind of stain on it and you wanna do a machine wash with it, you can zip it off, machine wash it, dry it, and put it back on.
Is there any kind of specifics on what to do with that, like cold?
Well, as most things with color, you'd because of gray cover, you'd use cold water, and I would probably avoid any kind of, heavy bleach with it, but, most of either the Tide Pod or whatever will get clean to it, but just I'd avoid straight bleach on it, because it'll fade the cover, if you were to drip bleach on it from that.
You through already?
That's really, I was just trying to think if I forgot anything else as far as this bed goes, but,
What's been your best seller since you ever came?
probably the Queen. Yeah, the Queen probably 4-1, but we're starting to see more Kings, come into the play, of late. But for everyone's initial order has always been the Queen, and then they'll put the Queen on the floor and sell the King off the bat. And, free shipping for you guys is, 2 packages is freight prepaid to your store, that'd be the minimum, so if you do a queen and a king. Or, if we get we talk about some other beds, the minimum shipping is $1,200. So you could take this and you could add this bed and that bed and maybe a couple of the platform bases, and you're at the $1,200. So you can mix product with it, but if you're just ordering these and these alone, it takes 2 packages to cover freight. That makes sense? Try not to make it too awful difficult, but, from that point, but.
How long does it take to get to us?
3 to 5 days. We've got ample stock on these. We've probably got 500 queens and a couple hundred kings in the barn right now. And we've got more containers coming in November and December, so we're trying to keep everything going from that. But I'd say the western stores might be closer to that 5-day, but pretty much even within Michigan, North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, 3 to 4 days within those stores. We ship out of St. Louis, Missouri, so we no longer ship out of Tampa, so that saves us some shipping time up there. Plus, we're more centrally located to be able to make sure that we get the stuff delivered to you quickly. So,
will you be developing a foot up base, or strictly head up?
Independent foot up.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at designing it for a king. If we were to, and we played with it, where if you're gonna separate this mattress 36 inches up from the foot on a queen, you don't have much else to go there on a queen. It really only makes sense on the king. So we're right now talking to our manufacturer on, costing out the independent foot up and head up in this configuration on a king. And what we gotta take in, the fact it's gonna add 2 more motors. The other option would be if the foot was just uniform, it wasn't split. But when we think through that, because you've got independent head up here, and I might not want my foot raised, but my wife might want the foot raised, and I'm gonna lose that fight anytime. But we think that could be more problematic than anything else, or be more of a pushback from the customer. And if they're really looking for independent head up and foot up, a Twin XL's a better option for that customer. That way they can, and then you're gonna go to a full king, because I don't think that cost is gonna be a whole lot different in a single mattress like this. It's just split the head. Yes?
Speaking of Twin XLs, do you carry those at all, the mats and any of that configuration?
We do have the Journey and the Phoenix in Twin XL, and we're gonna carry the Orion in the Twin XL. It's right now, the problem is the bases, they're very hard to get, and so
Yeah, cause we get calls for them. A number of stores here have bought King XLs,
Yeah, I think that
Twin XLs.
I think probably late November, early December, we'll have a solution on Twin XL bases, if you need them. We're not gonna carry big quantities of them because it's not a big mover, but we'll always try to keep at least a sprinkling of them in. And if you need some, please order 2 Twin XLs, don't try not to order 1. That makes it a little bit difficult inventory-wise, but, all right, any questions on the split? What's the customer's think?
I like them, just
All right.
thinking.
How is your, let me ask you a question. How do you think your sell-through, and I'm gonna talk about any adjustable, it doesn't matter, whether it's a head up, foot up, a Twin XL, or these things right here, how do you think your sell-through is? Decent? You've been doing well. So, I was reading an article in Furniture Today, and they were talking specifically about adjustable base business and how important that can be from a retailer standpoint, right? So we shouldn't be considered much different than a retailer standpoint. And they came up with some very good, it kind of resonated with me. First and foremost, you gotta have it out, you gotta have it on the floor, and you gotta have it functional. And, to make it work. Because somebody's not gonna get this unless they actually experience it and lay in it in the remote. The other tip they gave, which made a whole lot of sense to me, is that when you have a customer that's coming in and they're looking for mattresses only, start them in your adjustable category. Start them here. Don't start them at your entry-level bed and try to work your way up to that. Start them here. It's easier to work a customer down than it is to work a customer up. And with where these are from a cost standpoint, and what the premium value is, and what the weekly or the monthly rental rate is, this is more important to the bottom line than anything else. And that made a whole lot of sense with me, is that in some cases, customers might come in and they may never get to this if you start them down here, but if you start them here, let them experience it, let them make the decision, and then kind of move from there. So those are the things that took away from me that made a lot of sense.
I agree with Marty there. Anybody that comes in our store, we start them, if I have a king adjustable from him on the floor, that's where we start.
Right.
Everybody wants a king bed, it seems like these days, you gotta have a king. I think you're missing the boat if you don't put a king on the floor. It's a great rental rate for us, and we've done a bunch of these already.
Yeah, you've moved to 3 or 4.
Jesse too, yes.
Already, so, that's awesome. So if we're at that, we'll kind of breeze through our full lineup here, and I'm really gonna kind of give you a visual and a snapshot of the why that we build beds and why each bed is different and what each bed can mean to a different customer. And we are going to be back in business with our memory foam twin and full bunk bed mattresses. And it's got a nice, at the bottom of the cover of that is an anti-slip cover, so it's not gonna move a lot. But the key to it is that being that these are all memory foam,